Everyday carry, or EDC, has become pretty popular these days. Being prepared, ready to fix problems when they occur, ready to help, and having those small tools on your person to do so. But in Japan, everyday carry isn't just a lifestyle choice. It's a legal question. Plenty of people carry small pouches with them, and inside they have flashlights, medical supplies, organizers. What they don't usually carry though is a knife. So before you slip that Swiss Army knife or multi-tool into your bag here, you may want to think twice. Hi, I'm Jeff Richards and welcome to Japan Today Spotlight. This week we're looking at Japan's knife and carry laws, what they actually say, if they impact crime rates, how they compare globally, and what this means for residents and visitors alike. In 2015, a Wakayama city official, the director of the city's crisis management division, reportedly used a 9-centimeter knife to peel fruit. He later packed it in his bag. Police then discovered it later during questioning. Over an unrelated matter, he was arrested under weapons possession rules. He ultimately resigned. This wasn't a criminal mastermind. This was a city official. The law applied. In 2009, the Japan Times reported on a 74-year-old American tourist who walked into a police station in Shinjuku to ask for directions. Officers asked if he was carrying a knife. He did have a small pocket knife, something he described as a customary personal item. Again, at 9 centimeters, it exceeded the legal limit. He was then detained for 10 nights. Lawyers later questioned whether detention was even necessary. But detention of that length, they said, is not unusual in Japan. 1 centimeter can matter, and misunderstanding the rule is not a defense. Here we need to talk about intent. Some people carry tools to help. A seatbelt cutter, a rescue knife, even small multi-tools. If there's a car accident, do you want to be the one person who can help, or do you want to be that person who waits to be helped? That's a fair question. But Japanese law doesn't distinguish between good or bad intentions at the point of carry. It only asks one thing: why are you carrying this blade right now? Japan does encourage disaster preparedness. Think earthquake kits, emergency water, drills, keeping shelves and their contents secure from all that shaking. But weapon preparedness, that's where the line is drawn. Okay, so you might ask, don't people have the right to be prepared? In some countries, carrying tools, even defensive tools, is framed as an individual right. Japan doesn't frame it that way. The social contract here works a little differently. The rule that most people hear is this: carrying a blade over 6 centimeters without justifiable grounds is illegal. Japan's knife restrictions fall under the Firearm and Sword Possession Control Law of 1958. The system prioritizes collective predictability over individual rights to bear arms. In a society where almost nobody carries a blade in public, someone who does stands out. And standing out in matters involving weapons invites scrutiny. In Japan, being prepared with a blade can look less like responsibility and more like confrontation. Citizens will report suspicious behavior, and seeing someone with a knife definitely qualifies. Now, that doesn't mean police are hunting tourists with tiny multi-tools. Context matters. Your demeanor matters. Location matters. Japan feels strict, but is it uniquely strict? Singapore has some of the toughest public weapons laws in the developed world. Carrying an offensive weapon without lawful authority can bring severe penalties, even caning. The United Kingdom makes it illegal to carry a knife in public without a good reason. However, there is a carve-out. A folding pocket knife with a cutting edge under 3 inches, about 7.5 centimeters, is generally allowed, though it can't lock. That's actually longer than Japan's 6 centimeter benchmark. And yet, knife crime remains a persistent issue in England and Wales. So strict carry rules don't automatically eliminate knife violence. On June 9th, 2018, a man boarded Nozomi number 265 on the Tokaido Shinkansen. Between Shin-Yokohama and Odawara, he pulled out a knife. 1 passenger was killed. 2 others were seriously injured. The train made an emergency stop and the suspect was arrested. Afterwards, security measures were strengthened. Rail operators across Japan tightened enforcement on carrying unpacked knives on trains. Public tolerance narrowed. In Japan, one shocking act often leads to quieter, stricter rules quickly afterwards. And knife incidents continue to occur. Last month, a 61-year-old man allegedly stabbed 3 people at a public library in Fukuoka. Police arrested him at the scene. The victims were hospitalized but conscious. If you scroll through Japan Today's crime section in almost any given week, you'll likely find at least one incident involving a knife or bladed weapon. But here's the important distinction. Japan's overall homicide rate remains very low compared to most industrialized countries. In the United States, homicide is overwhelmingly driven by firearms. Knives are a smaller share. About 80% of U.S. homicides are committed with a firearm. Many states allow far more permissive knife carry laws than Japan. Yet, overall homicide rates in the U.S. are significantly higher. The comparison here isn't really about knife law, it's about access to firearms. Knife attacks are absolutely horrific, but generally, they're less lethal on average. Japan's system reduces the likelihood of high casualty firearm events. It doesn't eliminate violent behavior. Remove guns from the equation and you don't remove the violence. You just change what it looks like. Japan has nearly eliminated civilian handgun access. It has not and cannot eliminate knives. Most high-profile attacks in Japan involve knives obtained for the incident, not tools someone was casually carrying all day. It's something they've found, a crime of opportunity. Japan is one of the safest countries in the world, and part of that safety comes from strict rules about weapons in public. Now, you may agree with that philosophy, you may not, but if you live here or you visit here, you do operate within it. If you truly need a blade for work or travel, transport it properly and go directly to your destination. But casual daily carry? Think carefully. I understand the appeal. I get it. I was taught how to use a pocket knife by my grandfather, Andy in Cub Scouts, when I was a kid. I've carried one on me for most of my life. Preparedness in Japan often means adapting your habits, not importing them unchanged. From the Japan Today newsroom here in Tokyo, I'm Jeff Richards. See me next time.